Are you struggling with wrist and thumb pain, especially when lifting and gripping objects? You might be dealing with Quervain's tenosynovitis, a painful condition that affects the tendons in your wrist and your thumb, limiting your ability to function day to day. In this video, we'll perform a quick test to determine if you have Quervain's, and I'll guide you through several exercises and treatment solutions to relieve your pain, restore movement, and get you back to daily activities pain-free. So let's start with, what is Quervain's tenosynovitis? Quervain's tenosynovitis is a condition that involves inflammation of the tendons that control the thumb movement. Specifically, it affects two tendons, the extensor pollicis brevis, which extends your thumb, and the abductor pollicis longus muscle, which actually abducts your thumb. These two muscles are located on the deep compartment of the posterior compartment of the radial side of your forearm, which is essentially the back side and the thumb side of your wrist. These tendons pass through a narrow sheath that crosses around the wrist, and when they become irritated or inflamed, it can cause pain, swelling, and difficulty moving the thumb and wrist. This condition is commonly associated with repetitive thumb and wrist movements such as gripping, pinching, or lifting, and it's often seen in new mothers, hence its nickname, mummy's thumb. Common symptoms include pain near the base of the thumb, swelling and catching or snapping sensations when moving the thumb. The pain may worsen with gripping or twisting motions such as turning a doorknob or lifting heavy objects. Early treatment includes rest, ice, splinting, and or therapeutic exercises can help relieve symptoms and prevent the condition from worsening. So with that being said, let's jump into the test and the exercises. The test for Quervain's tenosynovitis is called Finkelstein test. You'll flex your thumb into your palm and then move your wrist into what we call ulnar deviation. Now, do you feel pain at the top of the wrist and the inside of the thumb? If you feel a noticeable pain, then the Finkelstein test is positive, which indicates possible Quervain's tenosynovitis. Now, I recommend seeing a therapist for an assessment and diagnoses, as we will specifically palpate to see if the pain is located on the tendon, and thus just doing this test alone does not eliminate seeing someone, but it's a good start. So the first exercise that we are going to do is called the Finkelstein Stretch. So yes, you guessed it, just like the Finkelstein test, we are going to lengthen those tendons by flexing the thumb, tucking the thumb in and wrapping your fingers around. You're going to bring your wrist into what we call ulnar deviation, and then you should feel that stretch through the tendons of the thumb and wrist. You want to hold the stretch for 30 seconds. Again, it should be a gentle to moderate stretch. It shouldn't be painful. Holding that for 30 seconds and then relaxing for 30 seconds. And you can repeat this 3 times. If you want a greater stretch, you can actually do this one with your arm fully extended, tuck the thumb in, ulnar deviate, and then that'll impact a little bit more up through the elbow and forearm. Same thing, hold for 30 seconds and then repeat 3 times. Now, the second exercise we're gonna do is a soft tissue release or myofascial release of the interosseous membrane, which is in between the ulna and radius of your forearm. You're gonna need a tennis ball or a hard to moderate density ball. And we're gonna place this on the extensor side, so the back side of your forearm. You're going to place the ball at the back. You're going to put pressure with the opposite hand, and then just gently rolling back and forth. You can even do a little bit of wrist flexion and using this almost like a pin and stretch, and actually it is a pin and stretch, to lengthen the extensors, and then rolling down a little bit lower towards the wrist, and then flexing the wrist up. So this will just help to stretch and mobilize the extensors of the forearm and wrist and help to loosen up the tension around the thumb. If this is uncomfortable at all, either on your shoulder or your elbow, you can also place the ball up against a wall and then lean against that. I also like that position as well. And then same idea, you would flex the wrist to lengthen the tissue. You can do that for 2 to 3 minutes. So now that we've stretched the tendons and done a little bit of soft tissue release, we want to now actively move the thumb. So we want to first start with thumb flexion. So bringing the thumb down across to the opposite side towards the pinky finger, which is flexion, and then bringing back up into extension. So all the way down to the opposite side and then coming up into extension. So we can do this nice and slow and controlled. You're still probably going to feel a stretch through here, and then coming up into full extension, doing 3 sets of 10 to 15 reps. Once we've done flexion and extension, then we want to activate the abductor muscle and we want to do abduction. So it looks like you're almost gonna hold a can. That's the position for the thumb for abduction. So you're gonna open your thumb and then come back to midline. So come out, abduct the thumb, and then come back towards your index finger, and 10 to 15 reps. This will just help to start to activate those tendons and muscles under low load, because we're not adding any resistance yet. We're just actively moving the finger through range of motion since we've helped to mobilize the tissue. So for the 4th exercise, you're gonna need an elastic band, or hair elastic will do the trick. We're going to do resisted thumb extension and thumb abduction. So you wanna have the band close to the thumb, and then we're gonna just extend the thumb up towards the ceiling, and then slowly back down towards the index finger. Slowly coming back up, and then back down. You want to perform 2 to 3 sets of 10 to 15 reps. And just remember the pain level, you should stay low. If it starts to increase as you're doing the exercise, make modification. Either look for a lighter elastic band or reduce your repetitions. If this is okay, then we're going to progress to doing the abduction. So now we've got to move the elastic band a little bit further down to the fingertips. And as I mentioned before, abduction kind of looks like you're going to hold a coffee mug. You're going to just spread your fingers apart, and that's going to help to abduct the thumb. So as you can see here, I'm bringing the thumb a little bit closer to midline and then back together. Nice and slow and controlled. 2 to 3 sets of 10 to 15 reps. So the 5th exercise that we're gonna do is a resisted wrist extension and radial deviation. And what that means is with the arm here, extending the wrist up towards the ceiling, and radial deviation is bringing the thumb side up towards the ceiling. Okay, so we want to strengthen those 2 movements. Once you've progressed to doing the finger resistance with the elastic band, you can start using either about a 2-3 pound dumbbell and then work your way up. So I will show you first with the dumbbell here for wrist extension. So you want to have your arm supported and rest against either a table or a bench, and then you're going to slowly curl the wrist up towards the ceiling, and then nice and slow and controlled all the way down, making sure that you're fully lengthening and getting flexion of the wrist as well, extending all the way up, starting with 2 to 3 sets of 10 to 15 reps. And again, you shouldn't have any pain here, and you should feel through the forearm and the wrist, the extensors working and getting quite tired by the 10th and 15th rep. So nice and controlled. So 2 to 3 sets of 10 to 15 reps. Now with radial deviation, I will show you with the elastic band, but you can use the elastic band or the dumbbell for either movements. I'm going to stand on the elastic band and wrap it around my wrist. And you can wrap it around your thumb as well. And then same thing, arm is rested against a countertop. You're going to pull the wrist up into radial deviation, so towards the ceiling, slowly controlling this back down until you feel a stretch through the forearm and the thumb, curling up towards the ceiling, nice and controlled, and slowly back down towards the floor. 10 to 15 reps. Now just remember that you can always increase the load. So if you're using a dumbbell, you can go up in weight, or with a resistance band, you can increase the strength of the resistance band. But I suggest sticking with 2 to 3 sets of 10 to 15 reps. And those are your 5 exercises. So eccentric loading exercises are particularly important for tendon remodeling. Eccentric movements involve lengthening the tendon under tension, which promotes collagen production and proper alignment of the fibers, enhancing tendon strength and resilience. Pain should generally stay within a range of 0 to 3 out of 10, where discomfort is acceptable, but sharp and increased pain is a red flag. If pain reaches a 4 out of 5, modifications should be made, such as reducing weight, adjusting form, or shortening the range of motion. Pain should not worsen during the activity or linger for more than 24 hours post-exercise. Any severe pain above a 6 means that you should stop immediately and reassess. The goal is to start by gently stretching and mobilizing the affected tissues, so your abductor pollicis longus and your extensor pollicis brevis, to improve your range of motion. As the pain begins to subside, gradually increase the load to strengthen the thumb and the wrist. Remember to listen to your body, and with the right approach, you'll be on your way to full function before you know it. Now, if your thumb is very acute or inflamed, it's helpful to use a thumb splint to immobilize the area, which can reduce swelling and allow the inflammation to settle. You can also use anti-inflammatories and apply ice to manage swelling. Then I suggest switching to heat once it calms down to improve circulation and aid in your recovery. The key is to minimize or avoid movements that cause repetitive strain. Now, of course, treatment from a therapist or a manual osteopath like myself can be highly beneficial. We look at all the systems of your body to assess and treat the root cause or the issue while providing specific management solutions to help you move forward. If you have access to a local osteopathic manual practitioner, I highly recommend booking a session to help support your recovery. All the products I used in today's video, I'll link in the description below, and other product recommendations for you to have a look and see what might be beneficial for you. I hope you now have a clear understanding of how to improve de Quervain's tenosynovitis and manage your wrist and thumb pain effectively. If you found this video helpful and want to dive deeper, stay tuned. In the next video, I'll be tackling trigger finger, and we'll go through rehab exercises to manage this injury, cover its causes and symptoms, and key exercises for rehabilitation. So just remember, there's always a way to stay functional and continue progressing, even when you're dealing with injuries, pain, or a setback. Now, don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more tips on injury prevention and recovery solutions. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I look forward to seeing you next week.